Good evening, brothers and sisters. I'm Brother William Valentino. Be continuing my series on the book of Revelations. Tonight we will cover Revelations 2, chapters 6 through 10. So I hope you all enjoy it. Okay. Revelations 2, verse 6. By this thou hast, that thou hastest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. Okay. This was a group of Gnostics. And of course, even today, there's still Gnostics around. They were never eliminated. But the teachings are a bit strange. But if you're interested in finding out some about them, there's some good books. There's the Gnostic teachings of Jesus. And another one I would recommend is the Lost Books of the Bible, which covers about 12 books some from Gnostic and some from some other groups that are no longer in existence. I'm not saying take this as gospel, but let's give you an idea what some of the other line of thoughts were as to how Christianity should have evolved. These are all during the first and second centuries. There's considered false doctrine, but back in the first century, there's many different groups of Christians, all claiming to be the one true. And during the struggle that evolved, the original Christians, which were Jews, that sect disappeared and was eventually overtaken by a large group that was then engaged, taken over by a big group, eventually was now the Catholic Church, is what emerged. As a dominant group, and their teachings is what Catholics and the basis for Christianity is today. Some might agree with them, some might not agree with them. That's everybody's right for their own opinion. That's why we got so many Christian sects today, not sects. Okay, Revelations 2. Verse 7, he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of garden paradise. Now here Jesus tells the churches, hear and listen to what my prophets or my angels bring for you, but this is my word. Being faithful under all circumstances, the reward would be a place with the tree of life which sits in the middle of paradise. So what more can we really ask for? Okay, Revelations 2, chapter 8. And unto the angel of the church in Samaria write, these things saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. During this time, Christians were being persecuted heavily. Domitian was emperor from 81 to 96, and then Nerva, who was about 92 years old when he became emperor in 96, and died in 98. They heavily persecuted the Christians. And the church of Samaria was heavily persecuted during this time. Of course, at this time, mainly being persecuted meant you was fed to lions or were sport for gladiators. And in Rome, one of the things they were known for was they would flood the Colosseum and put boats out there and fill them full of slaves, which were slaves, Christians, or anybody else who was deemed an enemy of the state or a capital criminal. And they would fight you to death. Whoever survived, sometimes the survivors were given their freedom, or the word of the sword, or the word of gladius. Others would just let me fight another day. Okay, Revelations 2, chapter 9, verse 9. I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, But thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say that they are Jews, and are not, but are not the synagogue of Satan. Now, God knows what his children are going through, and he knows which ones remain faithful and paid the ultimate price. And these who resisted being called Jews and worshippers of Satan. But it directly corresponds to the 8th verse where, for the faithful have endured the tribulations and trials and death in his name. Now, there's a special place in heaven for you. And now, verse 10, fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulations 10 days. Or, the Romans had prisons in which they thrown people into. Most of the prisons were, capacity was however many people they can stick in there. So, God knows that this is the work of Satan, as he uses the power of Rome to his own greed. Satan's goal is to wipe out Christianity. But knowing that the allowed Christianity to survive, his fate is already sealed. And Christians were persecuted heavily up until about 161 AD, when the Emperor Marcus Aurelius was the emperor from 161 to 180. He spent all but 6 months of his 19-year reign on the Danube frontier fighting back barbarian invasions. His successor, his insane son, Calcutta, I think his name was, stamped up persecutions of Christians to levels of the back of the 1st century. If you do want to know anything about Gnostics, I mentioned the 2 books. Now, it's for information purposes only. Do not take them at face value. But that concludes my words for tonight. God bless you, and may you all have a blessed night.